Skin sticks to my everything. I'm so happy that no one has found you.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Lavalu for an interview. Hi, how are you doing today?
Ticklish. Because of the wind. Anyways, meet my hamster. I'm doing good today. Thank you. Yeah,
Great.
it's wonderful to be here and in the spring garden, and haven't been to Rotterdam in a while. It's nice.
Yeah, sunshine is shining.
It
and we're
is.
ready, Yeah.
Finally, spring.
Yeah. So I'd like to firstly start off with where the name Lavalu comes from, because your real name is Marielle.
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 Yeah, where the name is from. It's been a while since I had to tell that story. I'm kind of... Well, it was a word in my head that just popped up. Like some ideas just land into your head somewhere from the atmosphere. They go like that. And I spelled it out, and I liked the way the A, the V, and the A was like connected in capitals.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know, it sounds good in French, I think. It sounds good in English, sounds good in Dutch. So yeah, I thought I'd take it.
Okay, nice. So yeah, keeping a name for it to also resonate internationally.
Yes.
And stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
That's quite smart. Yeah. And I saw that you were born in the US and that you moved here at a young age. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, I'm actually the only one of my family with an American passport, because I just kind of came out when they were abroad for 2 years.
Yeah.
So my father had to work there at a university in Cleveland, and yeah, I was born at that moment. But then returned home still as a baby. But my mom tells me I cried for like a year every night, because I think, it felt so differently, of course, when as a baby you get to live in a completely different environment all of a sudden. Like the scent is different and the sounds are different. And then this one day, she wakes up in the morning and she walks to my crib like, oh, she didn't cry. Is she dead? And I was like, fine. I was just sleeping, so I guess I got over it at that point.
Okay, interesting. What are your musical influences, like for the lyrics and your music? I saw that you have a lot of inspiration from Debussy.
Debussy, Satie, but also Shostakovich, Rachmaninoff. I mean, like all the great composers back in the day, to me are really inspirational in terms of harmony and structure of melodies. And then, of course, some pop artists I grew up with. Björk, for instance, Tori Amos, Fiona Apple, Tracy Chapman also I really liked. Like the really great singer-songwriters from the 90s. I kind of grew up with that.
Yeah. So now the music that you do, it's considered chamber pop. So I guess that comes from these influences. But what made you really want to stick to that and mix these two together?
Well, it has a few layers in its background. Well, first off, I used to play like indie pop with a whole band, and at a certain moment I couldn't afford my band anymore. Like they became 30-somethings and they had mortgages and I don't know what, so I couldn't kind of afford them anymore to tour with them. And then I was like, hey, what if I would return to playing solo? Because I started out like that. But what would I need from my songs to be able to feel good with that? Like the whole arrangement is in there. And that's when I kind of returned to my old piano books, the ones I grew up studying. And I was like, hey, this song, this Impromptu by Debussy, for instance, people still love it and it's just piano. And why is it still so fascinating? Because it's just well written, you know? Yeah. And there's so many elements and so many colors in there. So I tried searching for piano accompaniment since I was brought up classically that would kind of refer to this colorful palette and this kaleidoscopic feel of textures and sounds, so that my vocals would have like a really nice bed for them. And that became the search, and that was like the classical and the pop coming together. Both backgrounds and musical influences I really have, so it kind of makes sense. I was actually, once I found it, I was like, that took me long enough. So, yeah, to kind of find what was right in front of me all the time.
Yeah, well, like you say, good things take time sometimes.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And I just wanna stay there. Ooh.
Do you have a favorite type of piano?
I do. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a cliche, but it's the Steinway.
Yeah.
Because the Steinway Grand is just phenomenal.
Yeah, they
And
are
especially,
quite
I
beautiful.
like the really soft sounding pianos. So a lot of people play with felt now between the hammers and the snares. But for me, it's nice to, at a grand piano, use the una corda pedal, which is actually the left pedal. And then the whole keyboard goes a little bit to the right. And then the hammers go to 2 snares instead of 3, 2 strings instead of 3. And then you get this soft, comforting sound, which I really love. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then in the big hall, and then the Steinway again, it's like,
Yeah.
I think that's magical.
Yeah. So you know a lot about pianos. Would you ever consider perhaps maybe one day creating your own piano
Oh
to
my
have the
gosh.
sound you would want?
I've never thought of that. That's a good idea. Anyone?
Lavalu would
Call
be a
me.
great name as
Call
well
me.
for a piano brand.
that'd be lovely, yeah. Yeah.
Why not? If you could open up a show for any artist, dead or alive, I mentioned the dead because since you have a lot of influences from older composers, who would it be? And which venue as well?
Oh my
Dream
gosh.
venue to play in.
Dream venue. Yeah, well, I've already played at the Concertgebouw in Amsterdam. But I did play the Koorzaal, which is the basement hall. Then I played the Kleine Zaal, the small hall, which was also
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, it would be lovely to play the grand hall one day, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of a dream of mine, to kind of walk down that stairs.
Yeah.
Have this humongous Steinway there. And that would be lovely. So let's pick that venue. An artist, my God. Jesus, this is really hard. Like, I have a gazillion people I'd love to meet. But I think
So
in
let's
the
choose a top 3 then.
yeah, let's choose a top 3. Well, definitely Björk, because she's just so edgy and such an original. 2, Kate Bush, the original, like 20 years earlier, and then yeah, probably also Tori Amos, because to me, I remember so well. It was actually funny story. I was 15 when I saw my first Tori Amos concert. She kind of rocked my world with her second album I heard, Under the Pink. And I was in the hall with my mom back in the day. And she asked at a certain moment to the audience, like, she said, I like to inspire more than anything else. So I'm hoping and I'm quite sure there's probably a lot of artists here today in this hall. And at that moment I was like, oh, who would it be? Who would it be? I was looking around like never ever had I thought that I would become an artist myself at that moment.
Okay, interesting.
So I think it would be nice to open for her and just say thank you to... I mean, some artists just rock your world, really. Like, the first time I heard her albums, I was like time stopped or something, you know? And
Yeah.
it changes you forever when you hear it at a specific age. So, well,
Yeah.
almost getting sentimental.
What is your creative process like? Especially if you want to dive in with your latest album, Earthbound, because that's a really project of yours that you composed everything yourself.
I produced, this is the
and
first album I
everything.
produced myself, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt like challenging myself to really know, okay, if from start to finish, I make all like the director's choices on each aspect, what comes out. I just wanted to know that.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, now that I know that, I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy with it. Oh, let's start working together with people. Like, let's start collaborating again. Yeah, what's the process like? Well, when I write, I need silence, like real silence. I love it when I have a kid. She goes out in the morning to school, and my partner, he goes to his thing, and then like the room is quiet, and I have my piano, and it's just a quiet area where we live, and I start from, yeah, really from silence. And then, oh my gosh, this is going to be a very long story. No, I don't know what to tell. Maybe what's a nice detail, I used to sing together with the piano, because if I record solo vocals, like in a vocal booth, I get so over-focused, like over-concentrated on my vocals, that it's not organic anymore. But I wanted to do it this time separately. I wanted to have the time to really process my vocals. So I thought about it like long and hard. How am I going to do this that I can be relaxed about it?
Yeah.
So I taught myself, and a friend of mine taught me how to record my own vocals. So it took Logic and, you know, all the stuff that you need for it. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to sit on my favorite spot on my couch at home, like under a blanket. And I had like my computer here, my microphone here, my sound card over there. And then I just recorded like completely at my own pace. In the course of a month, I recorded all the vocals, and I think you can really hear how relaxed I am when I'm singing, because this is just my favorite spot in my house, which makes me the most comfortable. And it's so nice that the more I do this, the longer I'm in this business, I feel like all the details matter so much, actually.
Yeah.
But you can have fun with them, you know? It's not like, oh, it has to be perfect. No, you can have fun with creating circumstances that just kind of get the best out of you.
I've heard from an interview that you had where you had a project in a movie, and that you've realized that this movie was different because then the people producers were all women.
Yeah, I saw a few movies, I think a year or 2 years ago, that were directed by women. And all the while that I was watching both movies without knowing this, I was like, what's different here? But I couldn't quite put my finger on it, you know?
Yeah.
So I was really wondering, and then a certain moment I read about this and I was like, aha. And it has to do, I think, with a certain tone, a tone of storytelling. It's more in between,
Yeah.
like more gray, a tint, how do you say, gray shades, than just black and white.
Yeah. Okay. From that, do you think that you do the same with your music, that you try to give that feminine aspect?
I don't think
or
I
not
try
really?
to. I cannot even do anything else because
Yeah.
I come from this perspective.
Yeah.
But I do hear it. I do recognize it now that I've really been the director of this album. I can hear there is a certain tone that I recognize in those movies. And
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that, actually.
Yeah.
And happy for it. Like, hey, this is something we need more in the world, I think.
Yeah.
Because we know a lot of vocalists and artist writers that are female, but to have the last say in the most important choices in music, that actually makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. What is your favorite song to perform and why?
I have to think again because it differs. Yeah, you never know when you play live what song comes out most natural or
Yeah.
most like in the moment. But for today, it's actually nice. I do love the song Milk. Oh, I have to like, that's not. Because it's actually a solo song, but with my two musicians, Roosmarijn and Paul, we play it in a completely different way. Like, we make it a bit trip-hoppy, even though we work only with classical instruments. And that kind of a vibe I really love.
Great. What would you be doing now if it wasn't for your music career? Do you think?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but like the only other fascination that I have that is quite as big as music is la condition humaine.
Yeah.
So being a person and all the emotions and things that go on in your system and where they come from and yeah, just how we tick and relationship between people. So somewhere in the department, I want to be Esther Perel if I wasn't like doing this. I think she does amazing work.
Yeah, great. Before I pass on to the fast-paced questions,
Yes.
I want you to give us one word that would best describe you. I know it's difficult, but it's always fun to hear.
Organic.
Organic.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so now, what is your favorite season?
Fall.
Favorite board game?
Mensen erger je niet. Because my daughter loves it.
Your favorite dish?
Risotto. Oh.
Sweet or salt?
Sweet.
Your favorite Dutch expression?
Doen is moeilijk.
North or South Holland?
Oh, South. Brabant.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
City or countryside?
Don't know.
In between?
No. I guess city. To live in city.
City.
Yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Early bird or night owl?
Both.
Writing or singing?
Writing. By far.
Okay, great. Well, that's everything I have for you today. Thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I look forward to hearing your show tonight. Thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you.